Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Inspire You Network. Al and I are on the run today, but we've got a great show for you. We're going to talk to a couple of gentlemen who are going to give us some advice on raising more productive children. Mr. Whedon, what are you going to talk about today?
Well, I'm going to talk to the one and only Nikki Demarks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know you know Nikki.
Yes,
but
yes.
today our viewers will get to know Nikki because we're going behind the scenes with her while she was at work doing one of her shows.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I've partied with Nikki before, so let me just let everybody know you are in for a treat.
It's going to be nice. And speaking of partying, it looks like you're ready to party right now. You got the leopard print on. It's spring, but you just doing it, Candace. What's up?
Well, thank you very much. My sweet friend Kelly over at Two Pretty Girls Boutique has set me up with this wonderful leopard print blouse.
Okay.
And the jewelry is courtesy of Miss Danielle James from Chick Diva Jewelry Boutique.
Hey now. Well, you know what? You're working it today, girl.
Well, thank you, sir.
Anytime.
All right. Get ready for a great show. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Inspire You Network. Today, we're going to talk about an issue that is heavy on my heart as well as in our community. We're going to talk about the rate that our young people are leaving here due to gun violence. I have in the studio with me Mr. George Reese from G. Reese Productions and Mr. Nicholas Kidd from Compassionate Action. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Nicholas, I want to start with you because we had a conversation where you told me that 95% of the shooters are African American males. Tell us a little bit, give us a little bit more insight on that.
And to bring clarity, first again, thanks for having me on, Candace, and glad to see you, George. But to bring clarity to that question, 90 to 95% of the shooters in the city of Mobile and Mobile County are African American males. And roughly, I could say close to 100% of the victims are African American male or female. So also to clear that point up is we're not talking about responsible gun owners or legal gun owners, because most of those shootings that are occurring, they're from individuals that, first of all, was not even supposed to have a gun. In a great number of these cases, the firearms have been stolen and in turn used in a violent offense.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. George, the question that I have for you, there was a time when the community would get involved, the community, the church, the schools, to help raise the children. Somewhere along the way, that paradigm got shifted and we kind of lost our way. Tell us what you see different today than what you saw when you were growing up.
Community involvement. Like I say, when I grew up, it was more of a village. You know, if the next door neighbor caught you doing something, they'll punish you, take you home, and your parents gonna punish you. But when you do that now, it's why you hit my child. And I think the disconnect came when, when the teenagers started having kids. Like I finished in 92, so in the 89, 90s, you was having a lot of teen moms, teen dads, and I think that's where the disconnect became, because it went from being a parent, even though that teen was a parent, but mentally that teen was not a parent. Mentally that teen was like the child's sibling. So you're looking at a 28-year-old, 38-year-old adult with a 15, 16-year-old child. So, you know, you in your late 20s, 30s, you still having fun. So grandmama raising them, or that teen mom's mom raised a child. So I think that what the disconnect was, dealing with school. I taught school, and when I was a young kid, if I got in trouble, the question my dad asked was, what did George do to get in trouble? When I was teaching school, it went to, what did you do to my child?
Right.
So that's a big difference right there, and that's why we see the issues in the school system we see, because it starts at home. You know, a lot of people want to blame the educators, but you got to think, you raised that child. And kids from K through, let's say, 7th grade, because I taught middle school and high school, K through 7th grade, okay, it's good. Young black males, yes ma'am, no ma'am. That 8th grade, that's when they change. And I believe the change comes from just the community they be in, and everybody want to be cool. You know, like kids think it's cool to act up in class. You know, with our community, the problem I saw, even when I was in school, you make straight A's, or you a nerd.
Right.
The one acting the fool, oh, he cool. And we got to change that mentality.
Right, right. I totally agree with you on that. I think I do believe that that is one of the biggest issues is the lack of parent involvement. And it's because the parents don't know what's going on. Some parents don't know what's going on, and they don't take the time to find out what's going on. And a lot of times when they do that, it's almost like if they don't really know, then they don't really have to be responsible for it. So they kind of turn a blind eye to that. So I totally agree with you on that. Nicholas, you work with an organization who serves youth in an underserved communities. Tell us a little bit about the barriers that you face when trying to help those children change the trajectory of their lives.
I'll say this, the name of the organization is Compassion in Action. The program that you speak of is Measure of a Man. And what we basically do is start an RBTL, a housing project. We teach these young men how to read measuring tapes, hard hat, safety glasses. They learn how to identify different stocks and grades of lumber, use drills and miter saws, and in turn build picnic tables that we sell to generate funds for them to pay for their own outings and this type of thing. The organization, I'd like to make a note, was recognized by the Mobile Division of the FBI in April of last year. So I flew out there to D.C. On the government's dime to accept that award. Now, when you say barriers, one of my favorites for those kids in the organization is Psalms 139 and 14 in the Word of God. And I have them recite it and say that I will praise thee, O Lord, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and my soul does know this right well. And let them know that you're the smartest guy in the room. Matter of fact, George, I'm the most handsome guy on this set, according to some. Now, friend might not agree with that, but that builds them up and say, this is what God says about you. So we try not to focus too much on the opposition, but extend to them and create opportunity for them to advance and become better.
And that's so important because we have to be the ones to build our children up. It's up to us to put that confidence in them. You know, I have 3 children and they're certainly not perfect, you know, but sometimes I look at them and I think, who taught you to be that confident? You know, but that's just something that we have to do because confident youth are productive youth and they become productive citizens. So that's very important, and I appreciate your organization for stepping up and taking care of that. Another thing that we talked about during that conversation was accessibility. So at this point, I want to give both of you the opportunity to comment on this. It's very important to be accessible to these youth, but there's a way that you have to present that to them. So George, tell us what your presentation or what your approach is when you're dealing with young men that look up to you.
Like I said before, I was a school teacher. I also was a coach, football and basketball. So what I did with my players, I made myself accessible to them for his phone numbers, taking them home, finding out where they live, knowing their parents, and just being there for them. I used to get my guys together because, you know, football is more, sports to me was more about teaching and learning. So I used to get a couple of them together, go to my apartment and sit and watch football. And by teaching the game, I also learned out things about them. You know, I had one player, he in the street a lot. You know, I used to call him, why you weren't at home the other night? So making myself accessible to him and also at the same time being like a father figure to him because he didn't have a father. So he went from hanging out late to when I called by 8, I'm at the house, coach. You know, so you got to make yourself accessible to kids. Let them know you want to help them. You know, and try to relate some real life situations to them as well.
And what I get from that is you held them accountable. It's all about accountability. You know, I know that Coach Reese is going to call me, so I need to be at home when he calls. That's all about accountability, and that's very important. Very important. Nick?
I would like to put in a plug right there. The resources that are available at Strickland Youth Center. Non-custody programs with counselors that are waiting. They're on the ready if any of the viewers are having issues with their children, be they female or male. They can reach out to Strickland Youth Center. And they have counselors, that's what we pay tax dollars for, and people that intervene and help them to just get through some of those barriers that you talked about. Because that person outside of George is the counselor. He's not the parent. That's an independent person that they may feel even more comfortable talking to than they would their own parents. But I think that's critically important, because either we do that voluntarily, we do it through intervention, or the system is going to do it through apprehension.
That's right.
Eventually. So it's with education, dropping out of school, if anybody, Lord have mercy, if that child is threatening to drop out of school, please allow somebody to intervene, because they're building prisons contingent upon the number of children that's dropping out and failing at a certain age. They have projections way down the line, because they know if they don't have an education, it's going to require incarceration. So we're in crisis mode when it comes to school dropout. That is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous trek to try. But we have people, like I said, like myself, like George, other organizations, and Strickland Youth Center. Reach out, get some help from the people that are trained in these areas. We have to tap those resources. And just realize I can't do this by myself.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, and surrender some of that to somebody that can help you with it.
Yeah, and that's good advice, because I think that some parents think that if they resort to that, they may look like a bad parent, you know. So viewers, we want you to know that that is not the case. There are resources out there to help you. Please take advantage of those resources to help save our children. One last thing, George, if you can give us some advice on, because I know you have teenage children, that parent that may be struggling with the troubled youth or not sure how to interact with their teenager, give us some advice on that.
I say just be open with your child. And build a relationship with your child that you can be a parent. You know, a lot of people say, I'm a parent, I ain't their friend. Well, something you need to be the friend too. And what I mean on the friend level is let them know, hey, you got somebody to talk to. When they're friends in their age group, you know, and giving them crazy advice, let them know, hey, I'm here for you. I'm gonna give you an example on the teen sex issue. Okay. Teenagers think they know everything.
Oh, absolutely.
So all teenagers are ignorant on teen sex. Let's just be real, because all of us was ignorant till we found out. Okay, so I tell my kids when they was going through that stage, I say, hey, look, don't take sex advice from your teen friends.
Right.
Tell them why. I said, well, how many kids they got? They ain't got none. I said, that's why. Right. You need to come to me. Come to your mom. Let us advise you on what to do, what not to do. And also, we was teenagers, you know, so I let them know the road you've been down, I've been on. So as a parent, open that line of communication with your child, with school, life, you know, the whole nine. You want to start young when they're young, but like you said, if you miss that from birth to, let's say, 13,
Pick up.
Yeah, you got to pick up, and you can pick up. And by picking up is, if you ain't nice to your kids, just be nice to them. Wake up one Saturday, hey, we finna go somewhere. Where we going? Don't worry about that. Just put your clothes on. Don't go to the mall. Go to the park and just walk. They might be like, you tripping, you know, but I guarantee you, in their mind, they'll open up to you, you know, and you got to build the communication with your child.
Yes, totally agree on that. Well, gentlemen, thank both of you for being here today. Again, viewers, there are so many resources out there that can help you if you're struggling in a situation with your teen. These gentlemen, I'm sure, would be more than happy to help you with that information, answer any questions. George is George Reiss, R-E-I-S-S on Facebook, and Nicholas is Nikklos KIDD on Facebook. Inbox them to ask them any questions that you have. Before we go, George Reiss, tell us a little bit about this wonderful event that you have coming up on my birthday.
G Reiss Productions, along with Tim Hale, along with Brent Lewis and Dominique Hastings, we are our partners doing an event called Colors of Spring. This is the 3rd annual for the event. It's all grown and sexy event. It's at the fairgrounds, so it's a wonderful event. So Mobile, you guys are more than welcome to come out and party with us and have fun.
Candace, I want to ask George something about that. I'm a preacher. Am I invited?
You invited. Hey, you a preacher. You grown. All I know is when the liquor there, hey, I ain't gonna tell you business.
Well, thank you both again. We appreciate that. So ladies, get those sundresses ready for the colors of spring. Please don't go anywhere, because next we're going to shoot it over to Al Wheaton, and he's hanging out with Nikki Demarks, and she's going to let you party with her.
Hello, I'm Katrina Frazier. I'm a career professional, wife, mother, grandmother, fitness enthusiast, and avid reader. What inspires me is overcoming obstacles and challenges. I wake up every day looking for something new to learn from.
Prestige Event Center is the place for your dream event. Weddings, concerts, balls, birthday parties, reunions, church events, conferences. Whatever you envision, Prestige will assist in making your dream come true. Each event is created to your custom specifications with the focus on hospitality and budget. Prestige has many designs to choose from in their all-new facility. Come by for a tour. Prestige Event Center exceeds all your expectations.
You feel so comfortable when you're down here.
Everything from the services was very professional.
They understand what grieving is.
And it was so much easier having things done ahead of time.
They help you in every way that they can.
These things go on through your life, and you always have your memories, and it's nice that someone else can care about someone else's feelings like that.
Hey, it's DeBams. Make sure you stop by the first Nspire You fashion show, Spring Edition, Friday, April the 12th, 7 p.m. Doors open at 6 at Prestige Event Center on Howes Ferry Road. Admission is $10.
I am LaShondra Young, owner of Shop Inside Out, and you're watching the Inspire You Network.
Welcome to the Inspire You Network. I'm Al Wheaton, and today we are behind the scenes with a living legend here in the Gulf Coast area. I have the pleasure of interviewing today the one and only Nikki Demarks. Nikki,
hello.
Good morning. How you doing?
When you say legend, I feel old, and I am. So let's go with the young part. But anyway,
go with the young part.
Yeah, but I like that. I like what you said that. But I don't consider myself a legend, although I am.
Okay.
I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and let it be said, Al. I'm gonna call you Al Minor because you can get the No Stress Express. So you can go out Wheaton all you want to. I like keeping it real.
You raised a good point. I was thinking about sharing this, but for full disclosure,
yeah.
Yes, I am Al Wheaton,
yeah.
Inspire You Network. But actually, I am Almighty, for those who maybe didn't know. But you knew Almighty before Almighty existed.
I'm a little boy.
So we won't talk about legend and age and all that, but we go back. But let's talk about some radio. What got you interested in radio?
Actually, when I attended Tennessee State University in Nashville, I was destined to, my brother, my sister, and I were destined to go to college from high school. We had no choice. So I went to the college with my mother and father. My father received his Bachelor of Science degree from Tennessee State. My mother was working on a master's. So that's how she met my father. So he was in speech and drama and English, his major. My mother had a master's in sociology and something. So that's where they met. But I was at Nashville, Tennessee is where it started. I was going to start out as a nutritionist. I said, oh gosh, I'm going to go as a nutritionist so I can get a job right there. But all of a sudden, I started thinking about the public speaking I used to do. I said, I'm going to try mass communication. And that's when the mass communication was really up.
Gotcha.
So it started from there. And I changed my major the second year because the first year I was on academic probation. Because I was 1,000 miles from home. I couldn't do nothing. I was on restriction constantly. I went to a Catholic school for girls. I thought it was a reformatory school, but it wasn't. It was just for, in that time, in the '68, it was just a better education. Right. And they want more attention to me, and my father made that decision. My mother's Baptist. She never would have gone for that, but anyway. So Tennessee State, it was just I had to go. And that's where I changed. I said, I want to do communication. I want to do mass communication because this is speaking. I want to be on. I didn't know I was going to be on radio, television, or journalism. And I knew I had outgoing personality from my grandfather, grandmother, mother, and father, who were outgoing. So I just, it started there. It started in Nashville, Tennessee.
In college?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And then when I left college, I left out of there in 1979. When I came back to Biloxi, Mississippi, my mother, who had connections, God Lee, I was teaching business in high school. I did that for 6 months.
Wait a minute, you were a teacher?
I was a teacher.
Bless your heart.
Because I come from a family of teachers and principals, so I had no choice.
That's right.
And I said, well, I'm looking for a job. She said, no, you're going to come over here and teach. You're going to teach in high school. I went, okay.
Okay.
So from there, I said, no, I just put an application for radio. When I walked in the radio station in Gulfport, Mississippi, the person that was in charge, he was dating the public service director.
Okay.
The public service director said, is your last name Demarks? I said, yeah. She said, your father taught me at Jackson State.
Wow.
So that's how I got in. So she went to the manager and said, hey, I know her father. So it's not it's who you know. That's how I got in.
And that's a good point. I have told people this for years. In this business, it's a lot of who you know and sometimes not what you know.
Right.
Because you and I have both seen many who thought they knew a lot, and they come and go pretty quick. But the connections keep you going. Talk about the relationships you formed throughout the years. Just like that got you in the door.
That got me in the door. Yeah.
But relationships go and go and go in this
But I
business.
knew one thing about radio was changing. Okay. When I entered radio in 1980, it was changing from rhythm and blues to urban.
Gotcha.
And the jocks who were on the air in the rhythm and blues, they didn't read too well. And I didn't really worry about that. I knew I could read.
Right.
So we would do our own news. We would tell off the UPAY, and we would read, and I would read news, and they went, oh gosh, she can read. So I noticed that after 20 years that the reason why they kept me in radio because I could read.
Right.
It's called effective communication. A lot of jocks that are coming up now, they're using street slang. It's called effective communication. If you use street slang, this is how I was taught radio. If you're using street slang, let them know that you have an educational side too.
Right.
Go around here, but let them know that professionally there's a way to get an education. See, that there are two ways. You can't just do street on radio.
Right.
You can't slang it out. And I would like to tell a lot of upcoming young people that who are majoring in mass communication.
Right.
You know, they hear us, but we have to let our audience know that if they can't understand what you're saying, that's not effective communication. Let them know, like I say, ebonically speaking. But Nick can get on them air and say, look, we've got a problem on the highway, so you got to be able to say that. Not, we jigging on the highway, the jiggins and the jiggins and the wickets, and you got to say, we got a problem on the highway. There's traffic backed up. That's the educational side of
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, so people, they know that one side of the Nikki Demarks side.
Yeah.
But I want them to see that other side, because I've worked with you for years, on and off, and we talk about relationships here and there.
Right.
And people sometimes don't understand that radio is theater of the mind.
It is.
It is entertaining.
It's entertaining.
But you have to have the fundamentals to go with that. And I appreciate you talking about that.
It's called effective communication. Effective communication. I've learned that in college. It was speech 101. I was required to take speech.
Gotcha.
Because that's part of mass communication thing.
Right.
So I had to take speech. And it was all a part of radio and meeting people. You know, it's the biggest thing we have, the problem is on radio, especially hip-hop format. When I was coming up, it was Grandmaster Flash. We were all playing that.
Right.
But now the hip-hop is getting so explicit, and the jocks feel they want to be with the artist. If the artist says, jigga, bigga, bigga, they want to be, no. You don't have to be. You don't have to get with the artist. You have your own thing. If you listen, Al, you know, I think you know I'm speaking the truth. Just because you play the hip-hop music does not necessarily mean you got to go hip-hop on the radio. Right. Because you explain to that person, that was Waka Flocka, Waka Flocka. And the name of that song was called Your Mama's Up. But you got to be able to say, you ain't talking like Waka Flocka. You're not rapping like Waka Flocka. I can't get to them, but radio's changing so much.
So talk about, with that ability to effectively communicate, what is it that you feel connects you to your listeners so well? You have a very strong, loyal following for years. What is it?
Being personal, and that came from my mother and my father. I never met my grandfather, but my grandfather was a principal. But my grandmother, my mother's mother, my father's side, he was the only one educated. He only graduated from high school and college. Okay. So I can speak for my mother's side of the family. I was encouraged. I was encouraged to, how can I be? How can I not be like this? I got a mother and a father was teaching. My grandmother was you know, and I was punished, but I was exposed to the cultural side of me. You have to be personal. They were personal. My mother and father were teachers. They were personal with their students compared to the other teachers. The other teachers would go and leave, go to their big houses, and my mother and father, they were personal with them. My mother knew that some of the people in her class didn't have clothes. Gotcha. My mother would go to the thrift shop. That's being personal. Mm-hmm. My father would be personal to some of the students, his students in English, because they didn't have fathers. So gotcha. He became a father figure. Right. My mother became like a mother figure. And they taught me to be humble. Okay. And people, you know, I don't have a big, my car is paid for, by the way. My car is paid for.
That's a good thing, huh?
But that's what, it's called being humble.
And you talk about this personal connection. I know that two causes that mean a great deal to you: breast cancer and domestic violence. Right. And those are personal causes. What linked you to those causes?
Because I'm a fighter. And my mother was a fighter. My mother, and I only have one sister, and my mother raised us to be independent. Okay. That you don't have to seek the confines of a husband. Mm-hmm. That you can be my mother was a strong woman. My mother was a strong woman. Her only sister was a strong. I come from a family of strong women. Right. And I don't know about the men's side, but anyway, but my mother ruled the household. So all this is still in me to say, hey, I'm not going to let anybody just push me around. The biggest thing I have with domestic with women is fight back. I mean, I wasn't taught to fight back, but my mother, when somebody sees your weakness, that's when they come at you. When they see you weak. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why I'm blessed not to be in a domestic violence relationship is because they see my strength. They see the men sometimes, or whether it be gay relationship, that they see a weakness. If you let show your weakness, and I've been already taught to show strength. Right. Believe it or not.
And you're a strong woman.
When I walk around, when I get out of my car at nighttime at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got, you know, I'm ready to kick.
You got the power with you.
And you can see it in me. Right. So I think that's the biggest problem, is that you got to show strength. You don't show weakness. Okay. We as women and women relationship. There are some men that are in domestic violence. You have to show strength. Be a man, or be a woman. Be a strong man and a strong woman.
Now we're going to change up a little bit. Okay. We're talking about strength and family, and a couple of our viewers, you know, a lot of people want to know these intriguing questions about Nikki Demarks.
Don't worry about Junior.
Said, is that Junior's real name, or is Junior an actual Junior?
Okay, well, I started calling him by his real name, Henry.
Okay.
When I met Junior, I mean, he was retired. He was in Fort Walton Beach. I was doing a blues show.
Okay.
And I was at Fort Walton Beach. I was bending over, and I had a box of cassettes, and he went, damn. So I turned around. I went off on him, flat off. And he stood there and went, hey, I just want to make sure. He didn't back down. So, but Junior is actually a professional. He was a colonel. He's a retired colonel from the Air Force, Eglin Air Force. That's how I was doing the blues show.
So Junior is actually
look who approached me.
But it's Henry Jr.
Yeah.
But he was strong. He was confident.
He was from, when he took me to Hammond, he said, come on, you know, we was in a relationship. He said, come on, let's go to Hammond. His mama called him Junior. So his mama called him Junior, so I went, okay.
So affectionately the term remained and went from
his mama called him Junior. I said, wait a minute, I'm tired of calling you Henry. I'm going to call you Junior. He said, well, mama called me that. I said, well, I'm going to be your mama. I'm going to call you Junior. Okay. So that's how it came about.
You have a lot of different relationships, when I say relationships, in the business with people on the air, with artists. You've worked with a lot of people. If there was one event that you could host, past or present, or you could MC, what would that event be?
Spring Fling. I was working for a BLX, the Beat of the Bay. Okay. And I was on from 10 to 2 doing a special touch. You were working that too.
I remember.
You was doing, I think, afternoon drive, or somewhere you was doing.
Right.
And Mel Showers came behind me at 2 o'clock. And I used to travel with the BLX van up to Crestview, Florida, for Mel Showers doing the hip-hop show. All of a sudden, Mel said, Nikki, I want to do Johnny Taylor. I said, you ready? So that's how Spring Fling started. So Spring Fling, that's the big event.
So for you, it's just Spring Fling.
It's just Spring Fling. It's Spring Fling. And the other shows that I do with one artist, that's good too. That's good too. Right. I thank the supporters who support blues shows that advertise on this station.
I got you.
No shout outs, thank you, unless you advertise this, because people don't seem to realize they want a shout out, but that's how we get paid, Al. That's how we get paid. Yeah, I mean, commercials. You know, if we do shout outs, we wouldn't get the money. I'd be out the business. Then you'd be mad because Nikki ain't working anymore because y'all can't afford Nikki. So all of them, you know, I thank those who come to blues shows that advertise on this station, and hip hop shows that advertise on this station, to support these events.
And when you say that, you're talking about the promoters advertising.
Yes.
So therefore, support the shows
that
are coming.
Support the shows that are coming. I'm talking about hip hop, gospel,
all shows.
Blue, all shows.
And speaking of music, let's talk about this. What would you say describes Southern Soul?
Southern Soul has been around for a long time. Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding, they were Southern Soul. They wasn't pop.
Okay.
They were not pop. It's derived from them. Wilson Pickett, Sam and Dave, Rufus Thomas, that was Southern Soul. It was because they were from the South. Gotcha. That's how Southern Soul came about. If you look up Otis Redding, they're going to say he was a pop. He was a pop. Otis Redding was Southern Soul. He just crossed over because at the time white people, Caucasians, would say, "Oh gosh, she's got soul," but he wasn't pop. That's Wilson Pickett, Otis Redding, Rufus Thomas, Carla Thomas, Johnny Taylor. I believe in you. You believe me. That wasn't a blues song. That was our rhythm and blues. If Stack Records, that was Southern Soul.
So what we view now as Southern Soul is just something that has evolved from what these artists
because blues
lay down.
Because they're not really singing blues, they're doing Southern Soul. Blues is Buddy Guy, who's still a B.B. King, that's blues. Perkins, Pine Top Perkins. Gotcha. That's blues. I can name some more, but they're Trudy Lynn. She's out of Houston, Texas. Okay. That's blues. This is not, that's Southern Soul. We say the word blues because that's what everybody says. She's playing the blues, but really Nicky playing Southern Soul. I incorporate a few blues songs, like Buddy Guy, Little Milton, Bobby Blue Bland. Bobby Blue Bland was doing rhythm and blues. Bobby Blue Bland came out when the disco, he had an afro, and he was doing Tit for Tat. That was a disco song. I'm just saying, so Bobby Blue Bland wasn't always blues. He was doing disco. He was trying to keep up with the times. Gotcha. But Southern Soul was started in the South of a Southern artist. Wilson Pickett's from Prattsville, Alabama.
That's right.
Johnny Taylor's from Arkansas.
That's right.
Otis Redding's from Georgia. So they called it Southern Soul because they couldn't think of a name for it. But now if you read history on them, they were pop. They wasn't pop. Sam and Dave, they was from, they wasn't pop.
So speaking of the music, before we get out of here, one last question. I get hit with this a lot, and it varies from person to person. In your opinion, what makes a record a hit?
Mad Hatter told me this. When I first came to Mobile, I came to Mobile in 1989, and I hit the radio, and man said, I want to meet that woman. So when I met May, I wanted to meet him.
Okay.
And man said, Nikki, he told me this out of the blue. I didn't even ask him a question. He said, Nikki, he said, it only take 10 seconds when you start that song, whether it's going to be a hit or not. I never forgot what he said. He's right. He said, Nikki, if you listen to the whole record, oh God, he said, Lord have mercy, you got to listen to the whole record to find out what's a hit. It only takes 10 seconds. I've taken that with me for the longest I've been in Mobile. Mel told me this in 1989. That's 30 years ago. Yeah. And from now, people say, well, you ain't hear the whole record. I said, it only take 10 seconds. Believe it or not. Al,
words of wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, you doing the No Stress Express. Listen to, play a record to yourself. Pick out a record about a song. It can be R&B, whatever. Listen to it for 10 seconds. If you listen to long 10 seconds, then it's not a hit. You can say that's a hit, Nick, because you're going to hear. You might take 5 seconds. Right. But 10 seconds, he says the max.
Well, you know what? In my book, you a hit. I appreciate you letting us come back.
I love what I do, and I do what I love. I got that from Ray Charles. Oh, by the way, Ray Charles wasn't Southern Soul. Yeah, Ray Charles was not. He was actually, because he was with Atlantic Records. I just want to get that straight. Okay. You forgot Ray Charles. Ray Charles was not Southern Soul. Ray Charles was just black. It was a black artist. It's with Atlantic Records. said in the 50s. We got to have some black artists. Aretha Franklin, she was not Southern soul. She was just a black artist.
Black artist.
Yeah.
And this is why I wanted to go behind the scenes.
I love what I do. I do what I love.
Oh, yes, you love it. You love it.
But don't forget to check out Almighty.
It's not about me.
Yeah, I got you through this. Almighty in middays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And Al going to give away some money, baby, $1,000. I got to do this. This is what I do with my
Welcome
coworkers.
to my world.
You know that about it.
Nikki Demarks, the one and only on the Inspire You Network. Thanks for joining us, Nikki.
You didn't know about Almighty.
Woo, child. I told y'all were not ready.
Oh, yeah.
That Nikki is something else.
She's a handful.
Yeah, and I was holding my breath the whole time thinking, Lord, please let her keep it clean.
Right,
We've got
right,
babies watching, we got families watching, but that's Nikki. You gotta love her.
That's why we wanted to show the other side of her because, you know, she's always about be grown or be grown. Yes. But on the same token, she has something to say. And that's just a small sampling of what I deal with all the time, Candace.
I understand. Well, at least she keeps it fun, right?
Oh, yeah. All the time. All the time.
And speaking of fun, we want to make sure that you join us on Friday, April the 12th at the Prestige Event Center for our first spring fashion show. It's going to be great. We've got over 50 models, 12 different boutiques. It's $10 at the door. There'll be a cash bar available. Come out and have some fun with us.
And plus, we're going to show it later. We're going to tape that broadcast and bring it back later for the viewers who weren't able to be there. It's going to be great April 12th at the Prestige Event Center.
Absolutely. Well, before we go, we want to be sure to thank our partners, Prestige Event Center of Mobile, Smalls Mortuary and Cremation Services, and Port City Limousine Services. And again, we'd like to thank Two Pretty Girls Boutique and Chick Diva Jewelry Boutique. Please continue to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to email us, you can do so at info@inspireyou.org. Until next time, we're out.
We're out.
We are here to inspire.